prevalence of young users and the digestible nature of short-form video.
We are live
I'm
right
concerned
now,
about
ladies
the
and gentlemen. Let me
opportunity
know
to
in the
exacerbate
comments where you're joining me
existing mental
from.
health challenges.
We are listening to the
Chu, does
CEO of
TikTok
TikTok,
have different
who
policies
is
for
coming
amplifying
before a
content
congressional
that would be
hearing
related to depression or
about
dieting
the
versus
possibility, the
content
very strong
like gardening and
possibility
sports?
of TikTok
If
getting
yes,
banned. This is
describe these
my
policy
live reaction.
differences.
We're
If
watching the
no, why
trial
not?
live. Welcome to the
Congressman,
broadcast.
thank you for that. This is a great
So
question.
far, it's a
The
circus as
answer is
always.
yes, we are trying out some policies together with experts to understand certain contents that are not inherently harmful, like extreme fitness, for example, but shouldn't be seen too much. And these are models that we're building, and we are trying to understand, together with experts, how to best implement them across our platform, particularly for younger users
Okay,
under
so
18. Yeah.
in cases where users have been engaging with potentially harmful content,
Emergency live stream here,
I believe
folks.
it's imperative that the app takes steps to moderate that behavior rather than continuing to promote it. I mean, in a sense, be
I
very
apologize.
intentional about that.
I wasn't clear. First, anything that is violative and harmful, we remove. What I meant to say were content that is not inherently harmful. Like some of the extreme fitness videos about people running 100 miles. It's not inherently harmful, but if we show them too much, the experts are telling us that we should disperse them more and make sure that they're not seen too regularly,
So
especially
you're
by
very
younger users.
intentional about that then. It's something that
We are working
you
on it,
moderate.
yes. Yeah.
You're working on it.
Yes.
Okay. I yield back.
Gentle lady yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Bill Rockus, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for holding this hearing. Mr. Chu, your algorithms have prioritized providing harmful content directly to children, like self-harm challenges and even suicide. Just 3 days ago, Italy opened an investigation into the TikTok over user safety concerns.
How come the parents aren't here at the hearing? Why are we thrusting this upon open enterprise,
I know
businesses
about the blackout challenge
that are just doing what they're supposed to be doing? Why are we comparing? Why are we using the least common denominator as a variable for banning? It makes no sense at all. Where are the parents? Put the parents in front of the congressional hearing. Why is that TikTok's responsibility? Why is that Facebook or anybody's responsibility other than the person who created that child? I'm a father, so I get it.
From New York who tragically
It's amazing how out of touch these guys are.
by stepping in front of a train.
What's the best kept secret about building a six-figure side hustle? Well, I'm going to answer that question in 30 seconds.
Here.
His parents for being here today and allowing us to show this. Mr. Chu, your company destroyed their lives.
I feel for the
Your
parents.
company destroyed their lives. I admire their courage to be here and share Chase's story in the hopes that it will prevent this from happening to other families. The content in Chase's For You page was not a window to discovery, as you boldly claimed in your testimony. It wasn't content from a creator that you invited to roam the hill today, or STEM education content that children in China see. Instead, his For You page was sadly a window to discover suicide. It is unacceptable, sir, that even after knowing all these dangers, you still claim TikTok is something grand to behold. I want you to see.
Of course
what
there's
Chase
flaws.
would
Of
see.
course there's issues, just like
And I think
any
if you
company.
Again, would you share this content with your children, with your two children?
Of course
Would
not.
you want them to see this? And again, I want to warn everyone watching that you may find this content disturbing, but we need to watch this, please.
Larry tip. You got to kill yourself.
Oh, word? Like right now?
And then I'm gonna put a shotgun in my mouth and blow the brains out of the back of my head.
Cool.
This is a cute story. My brother, who is addicted to painkillers, blew his head off on the State Street Bridge. Bam! Now, hold on. It gets better. No letter, no goodbye.
Of course, they won't show any of the other content that's powerful and moving and inspiring. Of course, there's bad content in life, in everything.
Mr. Chu, please. Your technology is literally leading to death. Mr. Chu, yes or no? Do you have full responsibility for your algorithms used by TikTok to prioritize content to its users? Yes or no, please?
Congressman, I'll just like to, if respectfully, if you don't mind, I would just like to start by saying it's devastating to hear about the news of,
Yes.
as a father myself, this is
Sir,
tragic.
yes or no? I'll repeat the question. Do you have full responsibility over the algorithms used by TikTok to prioritize content to its users? Yes or no, please?
Congressman, we do take these issues very seriously.
Yes or no?
And we do provide resources for anyone who types
I mean,
in
context is important.
Sir, yes or
I
no?
keep saying yes or no.
I see you're not willing to answer the question.
You're not letting him answer the question.
Responsibility for your parents' companies, the technology, and the harms it creates. It's just very, very sad. Very sad.
It's very sad.
This is why Congress needs to enact a comprehensive privacy and data security law to give Americans more control over their information and to protect our children. We must save our children from big tech companies like yours who continue to abuse and manipulate them for your
Who continue to
own
provide
gain.
jobs and provide opportunities for people who otherwise wouldn't have
yield back,
opportunities, but
Madam
because these
Gentleman
kids
yields
have
back.
zero
Chair recognizes
supervision,
the lady from
it's not
Florida,
TikTok's
Ms.
job.
Basket
It's not
for 5 minutes.
Facebook's job
Thank you, Madam
to be a
Chair.
parent. And yes, they
Colleagues,
have
it
all
is
sorts of community
urgent
guidelines.
that the Congress
I've
pass
had TikTok
an
channels banned
online
before
data privacy law that
for
protects
very minor
the
things.
personal privacy
Completely
of
deleted,
Americans
monetized
online,
TikTok
and
channels.
particularly our kids.
I mean, they
While
have
this
these
hearing
governing
shines a light
policies.
on TikTok, this hearing also should serve as a call to action for the Congress to act now to protect Americans from surveillance, tracking, personal data gathering, and addictive algorithmic operations that serve up harmful content and has a corrosive effect on our kids' mental and physical well-being. For many years, I've sounded the alarm in this committee of how big tech platforms like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram incessantly surveil, track, gather personal private information, and use it along with data brokers to target and influence our behavior. This is a much broader issue than TikTok in China. There are other malign actors across the world who gather data to use it as an element of social control and influence peddling and worse. And as I detailed in this committee last year when we passed our online privacy law, the harms to children are very serious and demand swift action. Big tech platforms profit immensely from keeping children addicted. They do not care about the privacy, safety, and health of our kids. They are the modern day
Not at
tobacco
all.
and cigarette companies that for so long resisted and misled Congress. And it took the
I disagree
Congress,
vehemently, Mrs.
it took
Castor.
action by the Congress
Another out of touch
to actually
congresswoman.
protect our kids and to
Completely out
outlaw
of touch. It's
smoking
scary
by
how out of
young
touch
people.
Congress is.
In
This is
early
just
2020,
political
based upon the
theater.
growing
That's all it
body of
is.
evidence to harm to kids online, I introduced the Kids Privacy Act and the Kids Act. And I want to thank all of the researchers, the young people, the parents, the Surgeon General of the United States who have explained the correlation between social media usage and body dissatisfaction, disordered eating habits, anxiety, depression, self-injury, suicide ideation, and cyberbullying. Heck, Frances Haugen, the Facebook whistleblower, was right here and testified to us that Facebook
Okay, but
and
that's not,
Instagram
this isn't
conducted
Facebook. This is
research on
TikTok.
this topic.
Completely different
They
company.
knew and understood the harms, but they continued to elevate profits over the well-being of children. and TikTok does the same.
It's not a
Last
business's
Congress, when we passed
responsibility
the
to take care of your
ADPPA, the committee
kids.
incorporated many of
It's
these
you, the
important
mother and
child online
father.
privacy and safety provisions from my bills. But we can make
I would
the
never blame
118th
TikTok if my
Congress
kids did
version
something
of this
egregious. It's
bill,
my
this
fault
law,
as a
even
father.
more
I have 2
protective
kids.
of children,
I have
and I
2
look
middle
forward to
school
working with
kids,
the chair and
a
the ranking
9-year-old and an
member to make that
11-year-old.
happen. Mr. Chu, TikTok
It's
has
nobody
incredible
else's
sway
responsibility but
over
mine.
children in the U.S. But you don't have a very good track record.
If I see,
In 2019, TikTok was
you
hit
know,
with
if
the
my
largest
kid
civil
sees a
penalty,
wolf
by
devour a
the Federal
rabbit
Trade
and they
Commission in the
go
children's privacy case.
and they don't understand
4
that and they
years
think it's
later,
okay
TikTok
to
still has
kill,
not taken
is that the
sufficient
wolf's
action
fault?
to fix
How
the
dare you,
problems.
wolf,
I assume because
for,
child
you
users
know,
are
getting sustenance for
incredibly
yourself?
profitable
No,
to your
it's
bottom
my
line.
fault to explain and give contextual
So answer me
understanding
this.
to my
TikTok
kid.
allows advertisers to specifically target advertising.
I mean, you're just letting
to
all
children
these
aged
external forces.
13
Again,
to 17,
this
correct?
whole hearing, all these hearings against these social
Congresswoman,
media
I
companies.
do want to disagree
Yes
with
or
the
no?
statement that child
Just-
abuses are not allowed on our
Just
platform
yes
at all.
or
It's
no?
deplorable
Do you
conduct
do you
and it's not
target-
allowed on our
do you
platform.
target advertising to young people aged 13 to 17.
We
course.
do serve personalized
Okay, thank
advertising at this
Of
point.
course
and
we
the
do.
policies are very
money-
safe.
Everybody
How much money
does. What do you
does
mean how
TikTok
much money?
make,
It's a company. It's a business.
Selling ads targeted to minors.
Congressman, can I clarify minors in what age?
It's
From
a
just say
business. Of
age
course they
13 to
advertise to
17.
minors. Of course they
For the
advertise to
teenage,
13 and 18 year
population.
olds.
I want to clarify that we do have a under 13
Are you guys,
experience
are
that
your
they have
kids
zero effect
automatons?
on
Do they,
that-
can
on
they
that
not
platform.
think for themselves?
For
And
those,
do you- Well, that's a whole other.
Are the parents not held accountable? Is there
between,
zero
13 and
responsibility on
17,
the
if you don't
parent
mind, I'll
side?
check into my
I
team
take
and get back
full
to you on those
responsibility of
answers.
my kids.
TikTok could be designed to
I have
minimize the
restricted
harm,
mode on YouTube. I have
to
restricted
kids, but a
mode
decision was
on
made,
TikTok for well, my kids don't
to
watch TikTok.
aggressively addict
but
kids in the name of profits. And
I
it's
have
our responsibility,
parameters in
members,
place
to
as a
act
parent.
swiftly to address this.
Just
This
like
has
I don't
gone
let
on
them
for too
watch,
long,
a rated R movie.
dilly-dallied too much.
You
This
as a
committee,
parent are
thankfully, we've taken
responsible for your children.
responsibility and acted, but we have an enormous responsibility to act swiftly.
Let me
and
know in the
get this
comments if you
bill
agree or
to the
disagree.
floor of the House and passed into law as soon as possible. Thank
If
you,
you're just
everybody.
joining us, this is a live congressional
Gentlelady
hearing of
yields back.
TikTok.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from
Potentially,
Ohio,
probably the
Mr.
greatest
Thompson, for 5
opportunity,
Thank you,
or at least
Madam
the
Chair.
closest potential of this app being
Mr.
banned in the
Chu,
U.S.
I'm
Huge
an
hearing. The
information
CEO is on
technology
trial.
professional, been
Not on
doing it
trial,
for
but coming
most of
before
my
Congress.
life. You've been evasive in many of your answers. I'm going to talk to you in some language that maybe
More out of
you'll
touch
better
politicians.
understand.
It's
Ones
just
and zeros.
unbelievable.
Okay. Let's talk about the Citizen Lab report. This is something your team frequently mentions in hearings as a way to exonerate yourself. For example, in the limitations section, it reads, we could not examine every source code component and test in the apps in every circumstance, which means our methods could not find every security issue, privacy violation, and censorship event. So it's an incomplete assessment. The report notes that TikTok's data collection using third-party trackers was in apparent conflict with the GDPR and that multiple themes were censored by TikTok. What is shocking
Another
to me
terrible
is
law,
the shared
GDPR,
source
Section
code
230.
between
These are all
TikTok in the United States and the CCP-censored Youre. The Citizen Labs report says that many of the functions and classes were identical and that the differences in behavior between TikTok in the United States and Douyin in China are slight changes in hard-coded values. Incredibly, specific censorship parameters from Douyin are present in TikTok, but just turned off. The authors say that for unknown reasons, the parameter variable itself is preserved. So while Citizen Lab may have been afraid to say the obvious conclusion, Mr. Chu, I am not. TikTok's source code is riddled with backdoors and CCP censorship devices. Here's the truth. In 1 million lines of code, the smallest shift from a 0 to a 1 on just one of thousands of versions of TikTok on the market will unlock explicit CCP censorship and access to American data. Mr. Chu, as CEO of TikTok,
everybody has
why have you
access
not
to your
directed
data.
your
This
engineers
fear
to
of them
change
holding
this
your
source
data
code?
is absurd.
Congressman,
I
thank you
want
for the
them to have
question.
my
Have you
data.
directed
What
them to
difference does
change
it
the source
make?
code?
like what we are
I
offering.
want
and of course
personalized
commitment.
ads.
Have you directed them to change that source code?
Why do I want
Congressman,
ads
if you give me a
for,
bit
you
of
know,
time,
underwear in
No, I
Uganda?
don't. It's a
If
yes
I'm
or
never
no
going to
question.
go to
Have you
Uganda,
directed your engineers
this,
to change that
let me know
source
what you
code?
think in the comments. This
I'm not sure I
absurdity
understand it.
Why are you
that Mark
allowing
Zuckerberg is
TikTok
sitting in
to
the
continue
bushes
to have
watching
the
you. Nobody
capacity for
cares about you.
censorship,
Your
and yet
data
you
is
claim
out
here
there.
that you
You
don't?
can think for
Let me
yourself.
remind you of something.
Nobody's
Do you
controlling you.
realize
Nobody's
that
making you
false
vote for
and
somebody.
misleading statements to
These are
Congress is a
just
federal crime?
grandstanding by these
That's-
out-of-touch
Okay.
politicians.
So have you directed your engineers to change that source code?
I am giving third-party access monitoring
Okay.
by experts, and Congressman, you are an expert on this. You
What
could agree with me
percentage
that no
of
other company
TikTok
does
source
this.
code is
they
the
never
same
give them a chance
as
to answer.
Dover?
This is just like
What
I'm
percentage?
showing
I can get
off
back to
for
you
all
on
my
specifics.
constituents.
Okay, I'd appreciate that. Where was the source code for TikTok developed? Was it developed in China or in the United States?
It's a global collaborative effort, like a lot of
Was it
code for a
developed
lot of
in,
companies.
was it developed in China? Some of it?
Some of it is.
Okay, at ByteDance. When it's compiled in the compilation process, can bytecode be manipulated? We've talked a lot about source code.
It's a
What
private
about the
company. Of
bytecode,
course
the
it can be
ones and zeros
manipulated.
that
So
actually
what?
execute on the device? Can
To
it
give
be
you comfort,
manipulated? Yes.
It's a
Congressman, to give you
business.
comfort,
They
that's
can
why
do
we're
whatever they
giving third-party
want. We
monitors.
are
As an
using, you
expert, I
don't
think you
have
can
to
agree
use
that Very
TikTok.
few companies
I've got
offer
the
to do this.
report
This is
here
called, that's why it's called the
by,
free market. That's why it's
Citizen
called
Lab.
free
I wanna
choice.
read you,
You don't have to use
something
Facebook.
from
You
Ron
don't have to
Weaver.
use YouTube. These are all free.
Specifically in your written testimony to
And
Congress,
they're
you
helping
stated on
businesses
page 9,
gain customers. They're
Citizen
helping
Lab found
brands,
that there was
organizations.
no
They're
overt data
developing
transmission
opportunities
by
we never
TikTok to
seen
the
before in the
Chinese
creator
government,
economy.
and that TikTok did not
Hey,
contact
Sherry's in
any
the house.
servers
Good to see
within
you,
China.
Sherry.
You implied that Citizen Lab exonerated TikTok from
If you're
any
just joining
information
us,
sharing
we are
with China.
live
Well, the director of
listening
Citizen
to
Lab
probably
saw
one of the
this and
most
issued a
important
statement
congressional
correcting the record
hearings
yesterday.
on one of
And
the
I'm
most
quoting
important
Ron
matters,
Weaver, the director of the lab. I am
the
disappointed
strongest
that TikTok
potential we've seen
executives
to
continue
date.
citing the
This
Citizen
is a
Lab's research in their statements
real,
to government
I mean,
as somehow
it's never been more
exculpatory.
palpable
I've called them out on this
the
in the past, and it's
position
unfortunate that
and
I have
chance
to do
that
it
TikTok
again,
could get banned. I
unquote.
mean, it
He
could
goes
get
on
banned
to
like
say, and I
very
quote,
soon.
"We even speculated about
And the
possible
CEO of TikTok, the
mechanisms
first
through
time
which
he's
the
ever
Chinese
come before
government
Congress.
might use unconventional techniques to obtain TikTok user data via pressure on ByteDance." End of quote. Mr. Chu, you sent Congress written testimony citing this lab as a support of your claim that China cannot access user data, U.S. user data. And now this lab has come out to
Like
say,
we don't have data on
we never
China.
said that.
Like we don't have data on Russia.
That's
Like we don't have
misleading,
data on
Mr.
every
Chu.
single
Hope you
country out there.
understand what that is. That's misleading. Mr. Chu, this is yet another instance of TikTok attempting to mislead Americans about what their technology is capable of.
I'm
and who
Mr.
has
Johnson.
access
Vote
to
for
their
me in
information.
2024.
Madam Chair, I'd like to.
You see
Madam
how
Chair,
much
I would
I
like to
care for
respond to
you,
that.
Ron
constituents?
Weaver and the,
I don't know where that accent came from.
Citizens Lab into the record.
Without objections.
With
so
that, I
ordered.
yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair yields.
Yeah, I agree,
to the
Sherry.
Gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Sarbanes, 5 minutes.
Thanks very much, Madam Chair. Mr. Chu, I'm going to pick up on a theme we've already covered here, which is the effect that your platform, along with many other social media platforms, by the way, has in terms of
Okay, you can't group them. This is
mental
all
and
about
behavioral
TikTok.
health.
Completely
in this
different companies.
country. I won't speak to what's happening elsewhere in the world, but we've talked about the impact that it's having on children, on teens.
Just
We
like
took
video
some
games,
action
just like
last year in this
Elvis, just like
committee to try to
music.
improve access to
Alice Cooper,
resources with
Ozzy
authorized
Osbourne was bad for
programs
kids.
to address
Get
mental
over your
health needs,
kids.
but
I
we
have
need to
kids.
do
Get over it.
Even more than that. And we got to address what the big tech companies like TikTok are doing, because
No, we
those
really
are
don't.
platforms that expose children.
That's just a
teens
waste of time.
to additional
And you're going to eliminate
risks.
millions
The more
of
time
jobs and
that middle and high
opportunities.
schoolers spend on
If you
social
ban
media, the
TikTok
evidence
in
is
the
the more
US.
likely they are to experience depression and anxiety. And this is
Believe me, I have no stake in the
particularly
game
troubling
too. Like
since
I
apparently
use TikTok. I have brands that I
16%
consult that use
of American
TikToks, but I'm saying
teenagers report
for
that they
me
use
personally,
TikTok,
I've
quote,
diversified.
almost
I'm
constantly.
not worried
That's,
about
I think,
TikTok ban, but
about
I mean,
5
I do
million
worry and I do
teenagers
feel for
in
all
this
the
country that
businesses,
are
all
on
the
TikTok,
creators that are making
all
a
the
full-time living
time.
on there.
And we know that big tech, including TikTok, uses design.
This is a
features
total
that can manipulate
objective
users,
stance that I'm
including
taking
children
as a
and
creator
teens, to
economy
keep them
leader
engaged, designed to feed
and a
them
full-time content
a
creator
never-ending
and
stream
business
of
owner and a million other
content,
things.
keep their attention for hours on end, which includes
I'd love to hear from
capitalizing
you,
on the
though.
desire for others'
Let me know in the
approval
comments.
through like features, preying on the fear of missing out through push notifications and so forth.
Preying on the
again, you're part of an industry that's set up to do this, you in some sense don't appear to be able to help yourselves in reaching out and finding that new user and then holding on to them. TikTok itself has acknowledged that these features and others like the endless scroll feature can have an outsized effect on teens. And we've been discussing today how your app only intensifies.
I'm falling asleep here. You have a question?
Dangerous content and misinformation. I don't want to be too paternalistic here.
It's called
because we
critical
have young
thinking.
people
Think for
in the
yourself.
audience. We've got TikTok users that are watching this hearing, and I'm sure they have their own ideas about how this technology is being managed by TikTok and other social media.
Are you running for
platforms.
mayor, bro? Can you get to a question?
They like to access the platforms, and they should be able to do that safely. So it's certainly in their interest, and they can drive this conversation, I think,
You'd like to also
well,
get in
but
a
it's not
car
fair
safely,
fight, is it?
right?
I
And
mean,
drive. I'd like to drive
algorithms
my
are on one
kids
side of the screen.
to
The human
school
brain
safely,
is
but
on
there's
the other side of
a-holes
the
out there.
screen,
There's people who
drowning
don't know how to
in
drive.
these
There's people who
algorithms. In many
infringe on the law.
instances at an age
People who drink and drive. Your
the brain's
safety
not
is at
even
jeopardy
fully
every moment of
developed
your
yet.
life.
So
So what are you
those
talking
addictive
about?
impulses are being sort of perfected by the technology, and again, it leaves the users sort of helpless in the
No,
face
it
of
doesn't.
that. Are you looking
Users
at
are not
ways to
helpless.
redesign core features?
And what,
like the
government's going
ones
to come
I
in there and
mentioned
help
to be
us?
less manipulative, and addictive for users? And can you commit to making some of those modifications?
Chocolate is
here today?
addictive. Should we ban
Congressman,
Hershey's?
thank you. We
Everything
do
is
want to
addictive.
be
Netflix is
leading in terms
addictive.
of,
Should we
safety
ban
of our users,
Netflix?
particularly for teenagers. We were the first to launch a 60-minute watch limit.
Yeah,
and
let's talk about the 60-minute launch.
And I'm very glad to
limit.
see people, others in our industry follow. For many of your recommendations, we'll study them very seriously. We
Yeah.
actually have a series of features. Like, for example, if you're under 16, you cannot use a direct messaging feature because we want to protect those
I've
young
had
users.
TikTok
If you're under
channels
16, you cannot go
deleted.
viral by
They
default.
have
If you're under
strict,
18, you
strict
cannot
community
go live.
guidelines. They have
And,
strict,
Let me go back to
and I
the
didn't even do anything wrong. So, I mean,
60-minute limit.
imagine. They have
Because
parameters
my
in place.
understanding is
They
that
have
teens
safeguards
can
in place.
pretty easily
Just like cars have
bypass
seatbelts
the
and airbags.
notification
But you can't
to continue
mitigate
using the app if they
everything.
want
It's
to.
impossible to
I
mitigate
mean,
everything.
let's face it, our teens are smarter than we are by half. And they know how to use the technology, and they can get around these limits if they want to. Are you measuring how many teens continue to exceed the 60 minutes of time on that app?
Why
We
should
understand
How
they?
that's working?
Where
We
are the
understand those
parents?
concerns. Our intention
I'm
is
not
to
their
have the teens and
parent.
their parents have these conversations about what is the appropriate amount of time for social
Why is
media.
that their
That's why we give the parents
responsibility?
what we call family
Let me
pairing.
ask you this question before I run out of time.
Why is that
If
their
you
responsibility?
concluded
Where is their
that
accountability
putting,
in the parents?
some
I'm a parent,
reasonable
for crying
limits
out
in
loud.
place and trying to find a way to enforce them
It's not Netflix's
would lead some
responsibility to make
percentage
sure my
of your
kids only watch an
users
hour.
to leave TikTok and go somewhere else.
It's not,
Is
you know,
that something that you're prepared to
holy mackerel, man.
accept?
They just, the
Yes.
government just wants to
Really?
paint this
Well, I'd love
picture
to get the
that
research
we are
on how
all
these limits are
automatons
being
that need to be
implemented, how they're being
huddled and
bypassed, and
coddled.
the things that
And
you're
that's why
taking,
we're getting so
measures
much
you're taking to
cancel culture.
address
And that's why we're
those
getting so
issues
much.
going
You
forward.
can't have
Please bring that
conversations.
information
Speakers
back to
are
our
being,
committee as we move forward.
disbarred from coming to
I
universities.
yield back.
Gentleman yields. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Guthrie, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for yielding. I appreciate the time. Mr. Chu, your terms of service specifically state that TikTok does, and I quote, "not allow the depiction, promotion, or trade of drugs or other controlled substances." Despite this content being against your terms of service, and I brought this up with other service providers, but despite this content being against your terms of service, content on your platform related to illicit drugs like fentanyl, drug trafficking, and other illicit activity is pervasive and racks up hundreds of thousands of views. For example, in 2020, the Benadryl challenge resulted in the death of an American teenager. And we heard of another one challenge earlier today that brought a death of a teenager.
And
While
that's
you were at
tragic.
ByteDance,
But why is
you were
that
the CFO
TikTok's
for ByteDance,
responsibility?
Did doing
Free
allow
speech.
related illicit drug
Free
trafficking or
expression.
challenges resulting in death or injury to kids?
Congressman, I represent TikTok here today. I can tell you that TikTok does not allow illegal drugs content on our platform.
Do it did in China?
I believe they don't allow this, but I will need to check. I don't run their business.
Because my
I can tell you
question
TikTok
is-
does not allow this.
This is what we're concerned about, and my guess, and
You're really concerned, are you, Mr.
would
Guthrie?
allow for 41 days.
How
a threat
concerned are you,
against,
Mr. Guthrie?
A member of the Chinese Communist Party to stand on their site for 41 days?
Again, I cannot speak for Douyin, and I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second part of what you said.
Well, we had a threat against the chairman of our committee that was on your site for 41 days. My guess is that would not be allowed in China.
That content is, if it's violative, I would look into the specifics, and if it violates our guidelines, it will be taken down on TikTok.
Yeah, it surely
Yes.
appears that it does. But the problem is what I'm trying to get at is you seem to be able to prevent this content in China, but so not even taking it down, just prevent it from being posted, and yet it's on your website. So I have a couple of questions about, you said
He's
earlier,
not
as soon as you
in
find
charge
this
of state
information, you take it
policy.
down. So how quickly does your algorithm detect
We have a
keywords or
free
content that
democracy.
involve
That's
illicit
why
drug
the
trafficking
content is allowed
before
to be
these posts
viewed.
are self-reported or used by others?
We have about 40,000 people working on this now, together with the machines that we train. I don't think any company in our industry can be perfect at this. This is a real big challenge for our industry.
Oh, but the government
our
can
goal
fix
is to get
everything.
this,
Let them
any
come in there
violative
and
content,
regulate
including
everything
illegal
because, you know,
drugs, down
it's
to a
so
very,
great.
very
Their
small
track
number.
record is
Well, that's
exemplary.
the problem. When we have these hearings, we have CEOs of different companies and of your colleagues and competitors.
My
and
man
we
AL is
always
in the
hear
house. Good to see
apologies,
you.
And we always hear, we want to do better at this, but it just doesn't seem to keep improving. And we still hearing stories of our children and obviously that's been talked about today. So how many posts and accounts have been identified and removed from TikTok due to content posted
As
related
many
to
as
illicit drugs or
possible.
other controlled
You know,
substances?
there's millions and
Congressman,
billions
we
of
do publish
users.
that in a transparency report. I can get my team to get the information to yours.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Zero
Also,
accountability,
we
zero
understand that the way
self-reliance.
that people use TikTok or other platforms similar to yours is that
We need to watch out for you.
they
You
ensure
can't take care of
flagged user
yourself.
content
We
isn't
need to watch
permitted
out
to
for
jump
you.
from-
That's the
So my question,
message
so what we've heard
that
is
these
the instances the
politicians
user see a drug
are sending to
advertisement
the world.
and then give a code to go to another site. So my question is, do you work with other platforms to ensure flagged user content isn't permitted to jump from one platform to others?
No.
I will check with my team. I would love to work with our industry to make sure that we stamp out these problems.
No,
You know,
these companies
violative
hate each
content should
other.
not be
TikTok
allowed in
hates
any
YouTube.
platforms
YouTube
we
hates
have it.
TikTok.
Well,
On and
so
on
what's,
and on.
you
They
know,
never
kind
would
of
work
frustrating to
together,
all of us
ever.
here is that we look at what's happening on your site.
Can you
and others,
imagine? What do you think
particularly
YouTube,
that we
Facebook,
know, because we've done
Instagram, what do you
research that you
think
can't
the
have
leaders
access
of
to
these other social
drug
media
information
apps
others on
are
Douyin,
thinking right now?
which
They
is a
are
sister company, as you say,
praying
in
that
China.
TikTok gets banned.
And
Are you
so
kidding me right
it
now?
absolutely.
We're
if
going to
you can
help
prevent it
TikTok.
on
No, they're
one and
not.
the other,
They're
you obviously
praying that
have the
TikTok
ability
gets
to
banned.
stop
You
it moving
imagine
forward,
how
and yet
much
you don't. Would
market
you like
share
to
that would free
expand
up?
how one of your
How
sister
much that
companies
would
can
help
prevent
their
that and you
revenue?
not-
Facebook
I know you don't
fired
represent
another
me,
10,000
Douyin, but
people.
they don't allow it.
Google fired
But
people.
it happens
Amazon
on your
fired. I mean, these
platform.
tech
What's
companies
the
are in big
difference?
trouble.
First of all, the majority of the content on TikTok is fun, entertaining, informative, and very positive for our users.
Yeah.
Like other companies
Just
that
like
operate in this
everything.
country, we have to deal with some
You
bad
can't
actors
use the
who
least
come and
common
publish some
denominator
content on illegal
as the barrier or the
drugs,
barometer
other
of
Bad
whether or not
actors don't
something
seem to
should
be able to
exist or not.
access Douyin.
Take any entity, take
the
any
TikTok
product,
US
take
experience
any
should be
service,
compared
take
to other,
anything.
US companies because this
Just
is common
because there's
sense.
a
your parent
few
company has the
bad doesn't mean
technology
the
to prevent it because you
89,
prevent it in China, but
90%
you
of
can't
people who are
prevent it.
using it for
Why-
good,
why is it
positive
different? That's why I'm
things
asking.
should
Congressman,
suffer
there is no
because of it.
technology that is perfect in doing this.
It's
We have to deal
absolutely
with the
absurd.
reality
Let me
of
know
the
what you think in
country
the
that you're
comments.
operating in. And here in the United States, as with other companies, we share this challenge. We are investing a lot to address the challenge, but we are, it's a shared
But
challenge.
you
for
invest a
all.
lot to seem to be able to address it in China, but not here.
Again, I think the comparison has to be within the single country. We face the same set of challenges here in
What's
the
the
U.S.
difference? I'm sorry, I'm out of time, but what's the difference in China and here?
Let me give you an example, Congressman. In my home country, Singapore,
Let
there
the
is
guy answer.
almost no illegal drug content because Singapore has very strict drug laws.
Thank you. My time's expired now. Yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Tonko, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm concerned that TikTok's algorithm preys on vulnerable
Oh my
people,
God.
including those struggling with addiction, eating orders.
Tell me you're out of
disorders,
touch
and
without
other
telling me
mental
you're
health
out of touch.
conditions. The platform is designed to push content to users that will watch more frequently and for longer periods of time. Unfortunately, for many
Yeah,
people
that's
suffering from
usually
certain
what
mental
businesses
health
do.
disorders,
Same thing with
videos
movie
that
theaters, same thing with
reinforce their fears or negative
product
self-image
stores,
are
same
more
thing with
engaging.
every
On top of that, TikTok
service,
has received
casinos,
sensitive
resorts.
patient health information and records of browsing activity from multiple telehealth companies like BetterHelp, and Cerebral. People's personal struggles should not be fuel for TikTok's profits. People should be able to seek help to address serious medical concerns without being afraid that
And
their
they're free to do
information will
that.
be shared
Mr.
on social
Tonko, how do
media.
you say that? Anybody know how to say
Companies
that?
trying push more products, services, or content at them. So, Mr. Chu, will TikTok continue to get information from third parties on its users' health, including their mental health? Yes or no?
We will continue to work with experts, yes, if that's the question, to identify these issues.
Will you continue to get information from these third parties, including their mental health? Yes or no?
Congressman, I'm sorry, I may not understand your question. If your question is if I'm working with them on these issues, the answer is yes.
No, that's
No,
not what
the
I'm looking
question
for.
is, will you continue to get information from these third parties on its users' health?
Get information. We do not get any user health information from third parties, Congressman.
You have talked a lot about user privacy and safety. Will you commit here today to no longer using data about users' health, particularly their mental health, to push them content or sell ads? Yes or no?
We take our users' mental health very seriously.
Yes or no?
As far as I'm aware, we don't do that, Congressman. It's not what the...
That's not what the algorithm
The
does.
answer is no, you will no longer use data about users' health. TikTok systematically exploits users' anxieties by pushing alarming and distressing content onto their For You page. For example,
Wrong.
in May of 2022,
Wrong.
the LA Times found that some pregnant users...
The algorithm has
searching for
zero
information about their
emotions. It
pregnancies
simply
on
follows
TikTok
viewer
were then
behavior.
shown information
If you
about
watch things
miscarriages,
like that, it's
stillbirths,
going to
and
share
delivery
more
room
like
traumas.
that.
Your company knows that distressing content can have the perverse effect of feeding user engagement. And for TikTok, engagement means money.
Yeah, giving them what they want to see.
course of a
Hello?
week,
That's what any
what
network
percentage of
does. That's what
content
any
the
program
user sees
does.
is considered potentially harmful or distressing content?
Does anybody think for
Congressman, we work
themselves,
with a lot
Mr.
of
Tonko?
experts
Do
on
you
this.
think for yourself?
Even before we set the 60-minute
What a
time
name,
limit for
Mr.
under 18s,
Tonko.
if you spend
I'm
too much
Mr.
time on our
Tonko.
platform, you can try it. If you spend too much time,
And
we will
you
actually send you
shouldn't be,
videos to tell
we
you to
should
go
be
out and get
making
some air
sure
and get
that
off the
people
platform.
don't watch
percentage
things
of
they want to
content
watch.
that a
I'm
user
Mr.
sees is
Tonko.
considered
Put me
potentially
in charge
harmful?
of TikTok.
I will need to follow up with my team and get back to you on that. If that's
Well,
okay.
ballpark.
I will need to follow up with my team.
So are teenagers in particular shown more distressing
If you're just joining
content?
us, we're watching the live
opposite is
congressional
true.
hearing.
We
This is
actually put in
live.
more
Replay viewers.
restrictions
I don't know.
to
I
make sure
might
that our
unlist
teenagers
this. I
get
might
a
delete
better
this.
experience,
Are
I
expected or
look
new
like
parents shown
a
more
barrel
distressing
of
content?
manure right now, so I'm not shaven.
I
I'm
know
just
of many
kind of, it was an
parents,
emergency kind of
including one
live.
I
I just
met
wanted to
recently who actually
go
use our
live and
platform
talk
to
because
find
this is
communities
literally,
to
this is a
connect with other
bombshell
parents
that could
learn a
affect
lot more. I've heard amazing
millions,
stories
maybe
of
even
creators who
billions of
have
people.
difficulties, and
This is the
Reclaiming my time. Are
strongest
individuals with
chance
eating
that
disorders shown
TikTok
more
could
distressing
actually
content?
get banned. I ran a
we do
poll
not
on
we
LinkedIn,
remove all content that
and let me
glorifies
look at the
eating
results right
disorders,
now.
and we have
I
worked with
ran a
experts
poll on
to
LinkedIn, and
look
it's
at
still
certain
new. It's got,
certain content that may not
37%
inherently be
of
harmful,
people think
like
it
diet
will get
trends, and
banned
make
in
sure
the
that we
US.
disperse them more throughout the algorithm.
So I
What
just
about those
started
with
the
mental
poll. It's
health
got 30
issues?
votes.
Are they
This is
given
a
more
issue we
distressing
take.
content?
Keep an eye on that.
If a user searches, words
I'd
that
love to hear from you. What do you think? Oh, come on. I'm watching the This Is Now feed right now. I apologize here about this ad. Come on. Are you kidding me right now? I'm trying to skip this
So
here.
what
Okay.
about those suffering from addiction? Are they given more distressing content?
That's right.
sorry,
It's
go
already
ahead.
banned in India.
Those suffering from
It's
addiction, are
already
they given
banned
more
on
distressing
all
content?
government devices. On the
I missed the first
state
few words, I
level, it's already
apologize.
banned at some schools and
What about those
universities.
suffering from addiction? Are they
This
given
is,
more
I mean, the tensions
distressing
between
content?
Those
China,
suffering
Russia,
from,
and the U.S. and the West in
mental
general,
addiction.
NATO, are at
Do
the
you
highest
mean
they've been in
drug
over
addiction
50,
or-
70
Yes.
years.
Or any order of
And
addiction.
this is the
if people search
strongest.
for
I mean, a lot
content,
of people
then
are
you can
looking
try
at
on a
TikTok as the
variety
sort
of
of
subjects. We will
Chinese
actually
or the
direct you to a safety
CCP
page to give you more
Trojan horse.
resources. And a lot of
Um,
recovering addicts have actually
And
found their
this
communities on
is, I
TikTok,
think, the
and it's really helped
closest
them,
it will ever be.
find their voices.
That's
and
why
the
you have the
community and
chief
courage
executive
to
officer,
really overcome their
Mr.
addiction.
Shao
I personally
Chu,
have heard stories
here, in DC.
Well,
This is the
I
closest, the
appreciate your answers, but
nearest
I was looking for yes or
TikTok has
no,
ever
and
been
did not get
to
those.
actually getting banned in
Again,
the
I
U.S.
think
This
the
can affect
more
billions of
that they
people.
watch this
That's why I wanted to go
distressing content,
live.
the more profit
That's why I
TikTok
look like
makes,
this, and I'm
that's
not,
distressing.
I'm freezing. It's cold in California. We got rain for the last, God
Gentleman
knows.
yields back.
And I'm here to
Chair
try
recognizes the
to kind
gentleman
of,
from Michigan,
share
Mr.
this with
Walberg,
y'all and get
for
your
5
reaction
minutes.
as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we're glad
Yeah,
that you're
Anthony,
here,
that's a
Mr.
good
Chu.
point.
As Chair Rogers and
I want to hear from
Representative
you. What do you
Burgess
guys think of
mentioned
this?
morning, the Wall Street
Do you
Journal
think
reported
it
that
will
China
get
will
banned?
firmly oppose any
See if I
forced
can run a
sale or
poll here on
divestiture of
YouTube.
TikTok. And this is based not on conjecture, but it's based on comments provided by the official spokesperson at the Ministry of Commerce, who said that any TikTok sale or spinoff would amount to a technology export and would have to adhere to Chinese law and approval. This spokesperson was quoted as saying the Chinese, and I quote, "The Chinese government will make decisions according to the law." The Chinese government. Mr. Chu, do you agree with this official? Yes or no?
Congressman, I cannot speak on behalf of a Chinese government official.
Do you agree with that official?
We will need to look at this because Project Texas is designed to move forward here in the United States, and we are not discussing this, so I don't have specifics.
You know, your company is valued at upwards of $50 billion and has been on the verge of
Okay, I'm running a new
sale
poll
or
on
ban
YouTube. Make
for
sure you
3
answer
years
that.
At least, correct? Do you expect this committee to believe you haven't already discussed this scenario with your team? And you should have an answer to this, yes or no, I agree with the Communist Party, or I don't agree with the Communist Party. So I guess I would say at that point, you disagree with the Communist Party.
These are the people who are
Explain
leading
your
our
discrepancy.
legislator.
Congressman, for 2 years,
Completely out of
we
touch.
spent $1.5 billion US to build Project Texas. This is after very extensive discussions with relevant folks.
Project Texas is just something expanded for the future. We're talking about now. We're talking about what you're doing now, what your expectations are now, what your relationship is with the Communist Party, which is our major concern of what the impact that will be with a country. Let me rephrase that. With a Communist Party that doesn't care about America and sees us as standing in their way for superpower. That's our concern, and for you to have direct relationship, direct ownership with ByteDance, and to not have a characterization or an agreement or disagreement that you say explicitly with this party policy, it's hard for us to believe what you're saying. Let me move on. Following up on
Okay,
what
no
Mr. Latta
response?
asked about data access by Chinese engineers. In responding to Mr. Latta, you talked about where American user data would be stored in the future. But the question was about access today, storage in the future versus access today. This is total redirection. This blows up any trust we could desire to develop. So to be clear, Mr. Chu, today, do ByteDance employees in Beijing have access to American data?
Yes. Of course they do.
Congressman, we have been very open about this. We have relied on global interoperability.
You have access to American data.
Yes.
I'm answering your question if you give me just a bit of time. We rely on global interoperability, and we have employees in China.
Just
So
say
yes.
yes.
The Chinese engineers do have access.
So
to global
what?
You have access to global data.
We
That's
have
how
heard.
they run a
Not
better
storage.
business, just like we have
No,
access to all
storage
our
has always been in
audiences and our
Virginia and
customers,
Singapore.
our clients.
The physical service.
You have no access to storage, to American data.
What does that mean?
That's not what I said. I said
So you do have access to American data.
Of
and
course
you have
we do.
storage of American data.
Every business that's smart
American data
does.
has always been stored in Virginia and Singapore in the past. And access of this is on an as-required basis by
As
our
required
engineers
of who?
globally, by engineers for business.
I mean,
purposes.
anybody
engineers,
could
private
slip
company-
data to
ByteDance,
another communist or a
ByteDance, the
politically
Communist Party?
No,
adversarial
Why, how can you say that?
this
country
is a,
they
or
have
private
region.
business.
Anybody could
This is a
do
private
that.
business, and is like many other businesses, many other American companies. We rely on the global workforce.
So the global workforce that includes ByteDance, which is connected directly to the Chinese Communist Party.
That is
Has
the
access.
characterization that we disagree with. Now, in the
That's
future,
not-
Actually, there's
that's not
no, that's
who you disagree
alleged.
with.
There's
That's a
no
fact.
proof that it's
It is
connected
not,
to
unfortunately.
With the
CCP.
CEO of ByteDance and your
it is not.
relationship to them.
Congressman, respectfully, in my opening statement, I said this is a private company. It's owned 60% by global investors. 3 out of the 5 board members on ByteDance are Americans. This is a private business.
And you report directly to ByteDance with the CEO who is a member of the Communist Party. Let me move on.
He's not.
I think we got the answer.
Yeah, he's not. I mean,
Sadly,
give him a chance to respond.
at this point,
Where are the facts?
I believe my time has expired, so I yield back.
Yeah, you guys are all expired. You should all, I mean, for crying out loud, do a little research, man.
Gentleman yields back Chair recognizes.
See, the problem I have, the reason I'm getting so
Thank you,
heated
Chairwoman Rogers. Thank the ranking member.
is because
Ramon
there's
for holding
people in
today's
these,
hearing.
you know, there's their
Throughout this hearing,
constituents
I also want to thank our witness for being here to testify on what
that are going to
very
believe these
important issues
politicians. And it's just
before us
that
today.
actually the
Throughout this hearing, my
politicians
colleagues
are
have
spreading
outlined the
disinformation.
potential threat
They
posed
are not
by the
operating
security
under
of
the
Americans'
guise of
data
factual
by
data.
TikTok being affiliated and some would say owned by a Chinese company. Foreign adversaries having direct access to Americans' data, as well as the ability to influence this content Americans see on a prolific social media platform, represents an unprecedented threat to American
Why?
security and to our democracy.
What?
However, the
Our
problems of
democracy's that
social media
fragile? I
platforms,
don't think so.
content moderation, algorithmic discrimination, and safety
I'll
are
just read
neither
a
new
statement
nor
and just
unique
show my
to
constituents
TikTok.
that I care, which I don't.
Mr. Chu, I share the concerns raised by my colleague, Congresswoman
I'm sure you
Matsui,
do, Mrs. Clark.
related to algorithms. I believe that without mitigation against bias, platforms will continue to replicate, exacerbate discrimination that is illegal under civil rights law, as well as exclude important dialogue about sensitive topics like race from occurring on the
That's
platform.
actually not true.
For
It
example, I was
encourages dialogue and
disturbed by
discourse.
reports that TikTok
That's actually
content
not true at
moderation
all.
algorithm flagged words like Black or Black Lives Matter as inappropriate content. So my first question, Mr. Chu, is do you agree that platforms like TikTok should be subject to regular audits or transparency requirements to identify
They
whether
are by
policies
viewers,
have a
by the free
disparate
market.
impact on communities that are protected
Anytime
classes
something gets like shadow banned, or I mean,
race,
everybody hears about it.
religion, national origin, or gender?
I think, Congresswoman, I think platforms should be very transparent on what they do there
And they are.
disclose a lot of information. We can get back on the specifics of what we mean by an audit, but I do agree very strongly that platforms should be very transparent. And it's a commitment that we're giving to this committee and all our users that our platform will be a place for freedom of expression. We embrace all diverse points of view, all ethnic minorities. You can come and say whatever you want, as long as you don't violate the rules of safety that were put in place. And we also commit to be free of all and any government manipulation. So I think I'm in strong agreement with a lot of what you said.
Well, thank you. My bill, the Algorithmic Accountability Act, would require platforms to be transparent about their algorithms, measure disparate impact, and require risk mitigation. It is vital that the diverse culture of the United States is reflected online, but I'm concerned the algorithms and content moderation practices employed by TikTok are ignorant to the fundamental diversity while also failing to remove content that is harmful, like child sexual abuse material, hate speech, or domestic terrorism content. My next question to you
Well,
is,
hate
it's
speech
my
is very
understanding that
subjective, so how
users
do we
must
define
be in
that?
good standing to be eligible for compensation from TikTok's Creator Fund. For example, they can't have violated community guidelines. Is this correct?
Yeah.
There are some details there, but directionally, yes.
If TikTok's algorithm is flagging content incorrectly, resulting in creators violating community guidelines when in fact they have not, those creators would not be eligible to receive compensation under the Creator Fund, correct?
Yeah.
We do have an appeals process.
You have an appeals process, okay.
Yes,
In
yes.
my view, if TikTok employs algorithms that disproportionately remove content from Black creators, it disproportionately silences and excludes Black creators from
They have an
compensation
appeal
opportunities.
process. I get
And
stuff
this
flagged all the
problem happens
time,
in
just like everybody
parallel to
does.
the lack of adequate recognition, attribution, and compensation
Lack
to
of
Black
adequate
creatives for
recognition?
their content. The exploitation, cultural misappropriations, the erasure of Black creatives' ownership of their fashion, art, and media is nothing new. We need transparency,
And nobody is
accountability,
impeding
and
them.
bold action
Not
to mitigate
intentionally.
against misinformation, bias, and exclusion of certain communities from the opportunities present on platforms like TikTok. So let me just say this. I'm concerned
I think you've
about
said enough.
transparency. I am concerned about algorithmic accountability. And I'm not clear that your organization holds those values. So I want to ask that you.
It's a private
take a
company.
look
If you
at
don't
this,
feel that they hold your
because
values,
this is
leave.
all
You don't have to
part
use
and
it.
parcel
If you're worried
of
about your
what we're
data,
concerned
leave.
about with
If you're
respect
worried about your
to,
data in
social media
2023,
platforms and the
anytime you go online, then
misappropriation,
you are
the,
cuckoo. Your data is being culled.
the
Your
ways in
data
which
is being
those
aggregated.
algorithms can
Every
discriminate
time you use any
within the
app,
context of the social
website,
media
etc.
platform. With that, Madam Chair,
If you
I yield
fear
back.
for that, if you have
It's
something to
very- very-
hide,
just very
don't go
quickly,
online. I know
because it's a
plenty of
very
people. I have
important topic.
friends. Look, I'm Gen X. I'm almost 50.
4.5 hours with you, and I'm going to try to get to every member. So we're going to keep going.
It is very important. I would love to follow up.
Well, there will be other opportunities. The lady yields back. Gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Buddy Carter, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Crew, welcome to the most bipartisan committee in Congress. We may not always agree on how to get there, but we
This should be
care
fun.
about our national security. We care about our economy, and we sure as heck care about our children. We sure do. And that's why you're here today.
You have a point, Mr.
Because
Carter?
2/3 of all the youth in our country are on your app.
And?
They spend an average of 95 minutes on your app.
Okay.
And you know, research has shown that TikTok is the most addictive platform out there.
You could also
And-
say it's
and
the most engaging.
reason
It's the
for
most
that,
fun.
as we've been told, is because it has the most advanced algorithm.
So is chocolate.
And the Chinese Communist Party knows this, and I don't speak for everyone, but there are those on this committee, including myself,
Thank
who
God you don't
believe
speak for
that
everyone.
the Chinese Communist Party is engaged in psychological warfare through TikTok to
Through
deliberately
TikTok?
influence.
Do we
US
know that?
children.
Where's your data? Where's your evidence?
You know, you see behind me, if you look behind me, Mr. Crew, you see some of the challenges that we've seen on TikTok. You know about them. You know about the milk crate. You know about the blackout challenge. You know about the NyQuil chicken challenge, the Benadryl challenge, the dragon's breath liquid nitrogen.
I mean, that's
trend.
not, TikTok is
Or the
not
challenge to
encouraging
promote
that.
carpet.
Those
I
are
wanna
from
ask you, as I
creators,
understand it, there's a
certain
sister
types of
app in
creators.
China.
Why aren't you hold them
What
accountable?
I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation. Do they have these same things over there? Do they have these kind of challenges in China?
Congressman, I'm really glad you asked this question.
And
Yeah.
do they? Yes or no?
I'm
Well,
not
here we
sure,
go.
Because
Yeah, well,
No
come on now,
context,
you're
just
not
yes or
sure?
no.
I really am not sure.
Answer my question, yes or no, because
Remember, you took-
99% of questions
the
are
chair
not
lady
yes or
said
no.
you got to tell the truth.
And then every
okay?
single politician
Do you
wants a yes or
know
no
whether
question.
They have these kind of challenges like this over in China.
I'm going to
Because
share the
it's my
poll. The poll
understanding
is
they
live
don't.
right now on YouTube. If you're watching this on
I'm not sure
Facebook
because I spend my
or
energy
Twitter,
on
head on over to
TikTok.
YouTube,
And,
my
and you
YouTube
don't
channel,
look at
Professor
any
Nez.
of your other competitors or look at anything similar to yours. So you don't know whether they have. They don't have this over in China.
I did.
We have it here, but they don't have it here. And that's why I'm
Right now, it's a
asking you this.
50%.
Why is it that TikTok
50% yes,
fails
50%
to
no
identify and
say
moderate these kinds of
that
harmful
TikTok will be
videos?
banned in the U.S.
Why
Interesting.
is it? Why is it that you allow this to go on? We've already heard, God bless you, from parents who are here with us, who have lost children.
Oh, I know.
I submit to you.
I know. I
everybody
submit to you.
Up here cares about the children. of
Every
this
time.
country.
And how many people die in car
Tell me-
accidents
tell
every
me
day?
why.
This is a real industry challenge, and we're working
No, it's
very
not
hard.
industry.
No.
This is
Yes or
TikTok.
no? Give me yes or
We're talking
no.
about TikTok. We're talking about why is it that you can't control this? And although I believe in giving credit where credit's due, I want to thank you. It's my understanding that the video that threatened the life of the chairwoman has been removed. Thank you for doing that.
There's a
Sorry we
billion
had to bring it to
users,
your
you
attention
Momo.
here,
They can only
but it's
do
been
so
removed.
much.
Tell me why this goes on.
What about accountability to the
industry
actual
challenge for
people
all of us
creating the
here operating
content
in this
Okay.
and
so much for
starting
industry
these
travel. I want to
challenges?
shift gears real quick. I want to talk about biometric matrix and
Yes
I
or
wanna
no?
talk
Yes or no?
specifically, Can you tell me right now, can you say with 100% certainty that TikTok does not use the phone's camera to determine whether the content that elicits a pupil dilation should be amplified by the algorithm? Can you tell me that?
We do not collect body, face, or voice data to identify our users. We do not. The only
you don't.
No, the only face data that you get that we collect is when you use the filters to have, say, sunglasses on your face. We need to know where your eyes are. And
Why
that
do you need
da-
to know what the eyes are if you're not seeing if they're dilated?
and that data is stored on your local device and deleted after use if you use it for facial. Again, we do not collect body, face, or voice data to identify our users.
I find that hard to believe. It's our understanding that they're looking at the eyes. How do you determine what age they are then?
We rely on age gating as our key age assurance.
Age
gating, which is when you ask the user what age they are. We have also developed some tools where we look at their public profile to go through the videos that they post to see whether
Well, that's creepy. Tell me more about that.
it's public. So if you post a video
That's
you choose
creepy?
that video to go public, that's how you get people to see your video. We look at those to see if it matches up the age that you talked about. Now, this is a real challenge for our industry because privacy versus age assurance is a really big problem.
Look, you keep talking about the industry. We're talking about TikTok here. We're talking about children dying. Do you know how many children have died because of this? Do you have any idea?
Do you know how many children have died of
me
drowning
how
and
many
being in
children in America
cars
have died
and
because
you
of
know
challenges
pretty much
like
living and breathing as a human
Majority
being,
of
Mr.
people
Carter?
who use our platform use it for positive experiences. There
Good
are
to see you, Sherry.
That's not what I asked you.
There are
I
some-
asked you, tell me the number of children, of U.S. children who have died because of these challenges.
Congressman, again, the majority of people who come on our platform get a good
I'm
experience.
not talking about the majority of children. I want to know a number.
Yes or no? Give me a
User
yes or no.
changes
Don't
are
add
not allowed on
context
our
because context
platform.
doesn't mean
If we find
anything.
them, we will remove them. We
Yes
take
or
this very
no?
seriously.
Obviously, you found one today and you removed it. We had to bring it to your attention, and I know I'm out of time. Thank you for being here. Welcome again to the most bipartisan committee in Congress.
Gentleman yields
Is it
back.
really, Mr. Carter?
We will now take a brief recess and resume in 10 minutes. The committee stands.
Why? Because all of you guys want to ban TikTok? Is that why it's the most bipartisan? Okay, really quickly, here's what I want to do. So really quickly, I want to just talk about this really fast. So because I thought this was a good point by Vasu, and I want to hear from you. I don't know if I'm going to. I don't know if I'm going to even keep this live stream. I don't know if I'm even going to. I might just delete this. But here's the thing. I love this comment by Vasu. So Vasu says, I believe what the senator meant was how access to data was being utilized. I was going to finish my point, and then I thought Mr. Carter, pretty animated as he is going to come on here and talk. And it was pretty interesting. But I have friends who literally do not have any social media accounts, do not go online hardly ever, except for maybe checking emails, etc. They have all these guardrails in place because of the very fact that they know that their data is being culled, their data is being aggregated and stored, etc., etc. If you're afraid of that, you have the freedom to do what you want. You have the freedom to not use TikTok. You have the freedom to not use any platforms like social media giants like TikTok. That does not mean for the people like us, your freedom should not impinge upon my freedom. That is the very foundation of a free market, a free democracy, a free country. Hello, right? And so it just boggles me. I've been talking about the data people for forever. People who are so afraid. Oh my God, they have my data. Oh my God. So who are you that you're so important that they have your data? Oh my God, what's going to happen now? So they have your data. So what? What are they going to do with your data? Send you personalized ads? Try to understand your behavior, your consumption attributes so they can better serve you content, better serve you what solutions that potentially you need? I want them to collect my data. I want to be served personalized ads. If I, have a problem with my garage door and I go on Facebook or I go on TikTok and I get an ad about a solution to my garage door problem, that is a win-win. It's a win for the company. They get to make a profit. It's a win for me. I get a solution for my problem. It's a win for the platform because they get the revenue, the ad revenue, and the creator whose ad that was placed on. It's a win-win for everybody. You're not important. You're not a special snowflake. Nobody cares about your data. Your data is not that important. Okay? Yes, there's egregious, nefarious methodologies out there that people are utilizing your data? Yes, of course there is. That's why you got to have two-step verification, authentication. You have guardrails in place. You need to be smart about it. You are a human being. You have the ability to think for yourself. That's the whole point of this. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Global power. I love it. Absolutely. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to end this here, but I just wanted to, I want to hear from you in the replay. Let's see what the poll on YouTube actually came out to here. What did the poll on YouTube come out to? So it's still 50-50. 50-50 whether or not TikTok will be banned in the US or not. Let's see what my LinkedIn poll says. LinkedIn poll has over 30 votes, and it looks like 45% say no, 32% say yes, and 23% couldn't care less. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Vasu says, in our case, and he's talking about India, it's about security, and there's no point in comparing it with the U.S. Interesting. Yeah, I still have holes in that argument, Vasu, but, obviously, if it has to do with data being utilized and stolen without your knowledge and used in nefarious criminal activity, illegal activity, I totally get it. But I truly believe that most of the guardrails in place, most of the regulations in place, most of the TOS, the terms of service, and community guidelines, et cetera, safeguard against that. Yes, there's always going to be breaches. Of course, there's going to be breaches, but the majority of your data is just being used so they can, yes, profit off your data and basically create a better platform, create better partnerships with their advertising partners, et cetera, et cetera. That's really the crux of what your data is being implemented for. So I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think that the U.S. will ban TikTok? It will affect billions of people, millions of small businesses, big, large, SMBs, etc. I want to hear from you. And if you're interested in earning more, growing faster, and stressing less, and actually monetizing your creativity, skills, and experience in the creator economy, that's what we talk about here on the show. I'm a creator economy leader, content creator, business owner. I've been a content creator for decades, and we go live every single week, and I create new videos every single week to help you earn more, grow faster, and stress less. Consider becoming an insider. It's absolutely free in the description and the pinned comment. Consider becoming an insider. It's our free newsletter. All the latest and greatest updates, breaking news, contests, live streams. We do prizes, giveaways. You'll be in the know of everything you need, all the latest and greatest information and news on the creator economy. Consider becoming an insider right now. I absolutely appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you in the next video coming up.